Good morning. Welcome to the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast. This is episode 11, and I am your host, Jessica. I am coming to you from just outside of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and it is a very overcast day. We are outside today because my husband is home sleeping, and it is way too dark inside of the tiny house to podcast. So I thought we could come outside. It is a little bit chilly. So I am wearing some hand knits, and I figured we'll just get this going out here. So this is a podcast about knitting, about homesteading and tiny house living, and a little bit of infertility thrown in. So you guys kind of get a little bit of everything today. All right. Okay, so since we are outside, if you guys are, well, first off, if you are new viewers, thank you for coming. Thank you for checking me out. I really appreciate it. And if you guys are returning, thank you for sticking with me. I know there are a ton of other podcasts out there, so I really appreciate you guys coming back and watching a little bit of my podcast. So, what I was about to say is, since we are outside, if you guys don't know, we live on a farm, so there are chickens and ducks roaming about. The goats and the sheep are over there, so they might chime in. You guys are just going to hear some farm noises. And I apologize, and if anybody gets too loud, I'll try to cut out that segment. But it is what it is. So, some podcasts you guys get kid noises. On my podcast, you get farm noises. So, without further ado, Christmas knitting. I am done. I just wanted to show you guys on the podcast. I have a little bit more sewing up to do, and then everything is going to be mailed out this week. So I'm super excited. So let's start with the big one from last week. I finished my mom's poncho. So this thing was a beast to knit. And the binding's coming undone. I guess I didn't tie it off well enough. Okay. Well, good thing I noticed that. It is not sewn together yet, so I'm going to show you. Okay, that progress keeper is where I was last week. So I finished all of that. And it's like there and there. So since it's a poncho, it will just be folded in half like this. I will sew, this is the corner with the open ends. So I will sew from that corner and leave about a foot open for the neck. And then it's just like that. So I'm going to block it because you guys can see, if I hold it, where was the good light? Like you guys can see here how it kind of puckers. So I'm just going to lightly block it to try to get rid of that. Not a big deal since it is mostly stockinette. It's not really going to go anywhere. So that was the big item. Ooh. Sorry. Okay, you guys are balanced. Nope. Sorry. Okay, hang on. Okay, we're gonna try this again. You guys are balanced outside on top of a bar stool, and then on top of an ammo can, and then on top of a 2x4 with a stick propping you guys up. So, if you fall, I am so sorry. Like I said, because we're outside, the whole setup is differently. So, okay, back to the podcast. After you guys had a major earthquake there. I finished Mom's poncho, and then Tim realized he had my aunt for a Christmas swap, and so she wanted a cookbook, so we bought her the cookbook, but then I wanted to throw in something hand knit too. So I made her boot toppers, just like the ones for my sister, but these are just some gray from Hobby Lobby. Just like that. So it's got, you can wear it with the lace up sticking out of your boot, or you could flip it and just have the rib sticking out of your boot. So super easy, super quick. You can do the pair in about a day. I mean, it's worsted weight yarn, so it just flies. So those are done for my aunt, and once I sew up the poncho, all the ends are done on this, so I just have to sew up the poncho and wrap these two and then get them off to their new owners. So that is it for Christmas knitting. I'm done for other people. I'm so excited just to check that off my list. I'll rest easy once I mail everything out, and yeah, then we can just sit back and enjoy the holiday. So, you guys are still, I'm sorry. Is that better? Okay, I think so. Okay, so, Aunt Leah's boot cuffs are done. Then, last week I had a work in progress. Are you guys falling? You are falling. Okay, we'll just go back to here. I had a work in progress for my Christmas socks, and I finished them. Now, granted, it's been, I keep saying last week, but it's been a full 2 weeks since I've podcasted, and I will get into the reasons why at the end. So if you guys want to stick around for life updates, you can, but if you're just here for the knitting, I'll try not to bore you too much. Can you guys hear that? Okay, that's the I just laid an egg cluck. So, what happens? One chicken lays an egg, and then she tells the entire world about it. Then all the other hens go over, and they're like, oh, you laid an egg. Maybe we should lay an egg too. So then they all start getting excited, and then they all lay eggs, like, in the same exact location as the first one. So, they have this certain cluck that's like the I just laid an egg cluck, which I find is hilarious, but that's what all that commotion was about, is she just laid an egg. So, she's still telling everybody about it. Apparently, okay, so they're very proud about laying eggs, but then they just leave them. Occasionally, they will get what we call broody, and that is where they decide they want to sit on the eggs and hatch some babies out. But otherwise, they'll just leave eggs, like, laying in the yard. They don't have any attachment to the eggs until they decide to go broody. And then they'll sit on the eggs, and they will collect eggs, and they won't let you get anywhere near them. Okay, I swore I wasn't going to talk about non-knitting stuff. So, Christmas socks. Last time I recorded, I was here. I had just turned the heel and got a little bit further. So I finished the first one, and I made a second one. So, these are both done. This is tumbleweed yarn in the Sugar Skull colorway, and I love them. So I still need to weave in the ends. It's just the cuffs. So this is a self-striping yarn, so there's no ends to weave in, you know, other than the color change for the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I did my standard 64 stitches, size 0s. Yeah, it's a 20 rib cuff, or 20 row rib cuff, 2x2. Fish Lips Kiss, my standard. They're toe up, so I start with 14 and 14, so 28 stitches total, and then just increase until I have 64, and then I just zoom up the leg, or the foot, until the heel. So, 2 socks for me. Super excited. I'm going to weave in the ends so I can start wearing them because it's been rather cold. And they do match pretty perfectly. Yeah, so I'm very happy with those. Okay. Then, since I finished all the Christmas gifts and I finished my Christmas socks, I just wanted to work on my Cozy Memories blankets. And I say blankets because I have 2. I finished a whole yellow 9-patch. So for those of you who haven't watched my podcast before, I am working on 2 different Cozy Memory blankets. One is color patches, kind of like a quilt. So they're 9 patches of colors. So I have yellow, pink, purple, blue, green, and I think I'm going to do a red. And then I am bordering them all in white. So just like an undyed sock yarn. So that way when I sew them together, it'll be white on white. And they'll just be framed by that white border, and it'll look more, hopefully, like a 9-patch quilt. I wanted to be able to use up my bright, fun colors, but I didn't want them all to be, you know, just like a yellow next to a blue next to a pink, because to me that's just kind of too crazy. So I thought this way it's a compromise. I still get to use up my color minis without it being so overwhelmingly crazy. So, I finished 1 yellow. I am making 4 9-patches plus 1 pinwheel. So I'm using the Mina Phillips pinwheel pattern out of each colors. So I will have 4 yellow 9 patches, 1 yellow pinwheel, and then move on to the next colors. So all I have left to do is the yellows, and then if I decide I want to do the reds. So the pinks are done, the greens are done, blues are done, purples are done, oranges are done. Now by done, I just mean the 9 patches are done. Some of them have the white border and some don't, but yeah. I feel like all of next year I'm just going to be sewing or knitting on the white borders, which won't be too exciting, but it'll be fun to have the blanket at the end. Okay, so that's my colorwork 9 patch, and then my exciting cozy memory blanket is, I call it my neutrals, but there are some pops of colors in it. Now this started out as a 9 patch for my colorwork. I was going to have the crazy colors, and then I was going to have some blocks of like neutrals and maybe some solid black blocks, but I think that would just look too like hodgepodgey. So, and I liked the neutrals so much, I decided just to make an entire blanket out of the neutrals. So I'm going to show you, and then I'll show you which ones I added. How can I do this? Look like that. Over there. Okay. So, I almost did a whole row. We did this guy, this one, the green, this one, the purple, that one, the rusty, and the yellowy one. So on this row I still have 4 left to do, and then I'll have the row completed. Now, I Google searched the size of a throw, and I believe it was 50 inches by 70 inches, which equates about to 20 squares by 28 on my blanket. Each square is about 2.5 to 3 inches, so I figure if I just go 20 by 28, and then I can see if I want to make it bigger. So right now, it is 14 by 10. So I think I'm going to make it the full 20 wide, and then I'll just expand it out and out and out. That way I know it's not going to get any wider, you know, than I'll make it the 20 wide. So 3 on each side. Okay. I have, I don't know if you guys can see, okay. Do you see how the angles, they all come together in the center point here? So, all of the ones in this quadrant are going this way, and then the opposite down there. So, I don't know if I showed that very well the first time. So I have 7 and 7 on either side of the marker. So I'll do 10 and 10, and then I'll just expand it out wide. I'm loving this. It is so addicting. Yeah, it started out being scraps from my stash, and then I quickly used up, I don't have that many neutral sock yarn scraps, so I have been getting them in the mail. I did the 2 different advent swaps, so every day in December I have 2 minis to open, so quite a few fit in here, and I am being a little bit more liberal. Like, this is not, this is not really a neutral, but when it's with the other neutrals, I feel like it doesn't seem so bright. Yeah, so it's like neutrals and like calm-ish colors, I guess we'll say. So that is my cozy memory blanket. And then I was so excited about all of the different minis. And I can't knit them into my blanket fast enough. And I have some that just won't. They're not a solid color, and they're not a neutral. So I thought, Tim might be up. We'll see. So I wanted to use up the minis that I have that don't fit in either criteria. So I thought I would make some scrappy socks. And oh my goodness. Okay, I cast these on last night. And I'm doing a solid color toe. I'm trying to get my blanket not to fall in the mud. A solid toe, a solid heel, and maybe even a solid cuff. So, what do you guys think? Sorry, the ball that I'm working on is in there, so that's why it looks a little lumpy. So the toes are going to be in this cream. This is October House. She is a local hot springs dyer. And this is called the Tea Stained colorway. And it is one of my favorite neutrals. It's not white, it's not cream. Sorry, I guess it's the cats that are running around inside the tiny house. So I'm going to do the toes, cuffs, and heels, I think, in this. And then I am just doing 10 rows from each mini. So this blue, it looks kind of the same as this, but it's not. It's different. So there's this one. This second one here is Legacy Fiber Arts. This one here is Peepaloo Fields. I'm not sure what the neon, this bright one is. And I don't know what the blue is. And then right now, I'm just starting on an orange. The orange is Valkyrie Fibers that I'm using. So, I love it. I figure I'll probably have about 8 colors, so 8 of the 10 row stripes before I get to the heel. But of course, once I get the 8, I'll try it on and see if we're ready. Can you guys hear the other hen that just laid an egg? Yeah. They mostly lay their eggs in the mornings, so it's like egg laying time. But yeah, scrappy socks. Love them. I'm super excited about these. I'm going over to a girlfriend's to knit and to get my hair cut today. Okay, so it's like, can you guys, oh, sorry. Do you see how long it is? I think I'm going to cut it to like here. So maybe like 10 inches. It's just so long. Well, I'll talk about that later. Okay, but anyways, I'm going to my girlfriend's house to go knit and she's going to cut my hair. So I'm going to take my scrappy socks and that's just going to be my project for today. Because I'm done with Christmas knitting, so I have no deadlines, so I can work on whatever I want to. That said, I cast on the Spice Market shawl. Now, last episode I was going on and on about how I wanted to make the Pure Joy, and I still do. I'm just not 100% sure about the colors. I received a super sweet package from Jenny of the Lucky Jenny Knits podcast. Because I'd been talking about how I wanted that brown from Destination Yarns, and Jenny was like, I have a brown, I think it'll work, I'll send it your way. So she did, and I love it. I believe it's 3 Irish girls, and I forgot to bring it out here, but I'll show it later. It's just a little bit too orangey. It has like orange undertones, and the yarn I'm trying to pair it with is from Artistic Lily, and it has like bubblegum pink. So I don't think the orange really goes with the bubblegum pink. I'm gonna try to fix you guys. Sorry. Okay, we'll see if that's better. So you guys aren't looking just at the window. This is like our front wall on the outside. And then like right here, right there, is like a big hydrangea tree, which obviously is dead right now because it's winter. So, anyways, and you guys are falling. One of these days I'm gonna buy like a real podcaster stand, and then you guys won't have this issue. So, on the Spice Market, I'm in love with this one too. I was just watching Chelsea and Sue of the Legacy Fiber Arts, and Sue was saying every time she picks up something to show on the podcast, she just falls absolutely in love with it again, and that's all she wants to do. And I feel like that's how I am. Like, I had just showed my cozy memory blanket, and so now I'm like, oh, I want to work on that. And then I show my scrappy socks, and I want to work on those. And now, this is my On the Spice Market, and now all I want to do is work on this. So, this one has a lot of ends, which I hate. But, can you guys see how pretty it looks? There's a rooster. So it starts at this little end. Let's see if I can get the ends on the right side. Be a little bit pretty. Oops. Isn't that pretty? And I'm just now starting the section with the little, like, dollops of color. I don't know how to describe them. This is not my favorite section at all. This stuff, the big chunks, were super fun. They were intuitive, mindless, This stuff, not so much. It's like little flowers, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty, but it's not my favorite to do. So, it got set in a project bag. This is my Knit One Lasso 2 project bag. And I'm using hedgehog fibers. Can you guys see the different colors in there? So, I used this one because it has like hints of, I don't know how well it's going to show outside, hints of like purple, and like little itty bitty specks of bright pink. And since my gradient set is purples, I figured they might pull out the little flecks of purple in the gray better. So, I picked up both of these yarns at the Arkansas Yarn Crawl that we just had in October. And then they had just been sitting in my stash until last week when I was going on and on about wanting to cast on a shawl. And I was like, you genius, you already have, this yarn was already caked up, and I just had to wind the minis. It's like, you already have all that ready. Just sit on the Pure Joy, think about it, and you can start on the spice market, because I had the pattern, I had the yarn, why not? I am doing these on my Chaigus. These are size 5. These are my interchangeables. These are my absolute favorite needles to use. It's not really going to show you. I love this set. When I was working at the yarn shop, I bought the interchangeable set, and it goes from a size 2, I can't tell if you guys are following, I think you are. It goes from a size 2 to a size 15. So it's like every single needle you might possibly need is in that interchangeable set. And they come with the stoppers, so I can steal these tips and put the stopper on. You can buy extra cords. I don't know if you can buy extra needle tips, but they come in a really nice fabric carrying case with all the little pockets. So it was quite an investment, but I absolutely love them. They are my absolute favorites. It is so nice to just have all my needles, in one little, it's like a little yay big, and it just zips up, and it has all the tools and everything you need. So, if anybody is looking for an interchangeable needle set, I wholeheartedly recommend the Chaigus. And I think you can get them on Amazon for quite a bit cheaper than you could find them in a yarn shop. So maybe check there first. I mean, I think it was like $180, $160 for the set. So, it's not just spare change. I mean, it's a good investment. But it has everything from 2 to a 15. So, sorry, the kitten just challenged a duck and she lost. So it's got absolutely everything you might need. And yeah. And they're my favorites. I love the cords. I know some people don't like the cords, but they're stiff but not too stiff. Yeah. And I mean, needles are so personal. Everybody likes different needles. So you kind of got to do, you guys are falling again. You got to do whatever works for you. But I recommend the Chaigus. So there's those. Okay. Speaking of shawls, Jenny of the Lucky Jenny Knits and I are doing a shawl along. So we are running this starting in January 1st of 2017. Whips are totally allowed and encouraged. We just want to knit something cozy, that goes around your neck. And, now that you guys are falling again, now that we're all done with our Christmas knits. So you guys are still falling. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to try to get through this last segment without the camera falling too much. So, what I was saying, Lucky Jenny Knits and I are doing a shawl along. We're going to have chatter and finished objects threads in our groups. There will be prizes. Let's just knit something. It can be for yourself. It can be for a gift. It just has to be a shawl. So no cowls, no scarves, just a shawl. Whatever kind of shawl you want. So I'm going to be doing on the spice market, and maybe even the Pure Joy too. So once I get all my colors figured out for that. Speaking of knit-alongs, I'm also going to do a year-long knit-along with Jessamine of the Knitted Towel podcast. And we are doing a garment along, or a sweater along. One of my goals is to have a more handmade wardrobe. And I've made quite a few sweaters for myself, but every time I'm on Ravelry and I look at the sweaters and I'm like, that'd be so pretty if I was skinny. And I really want to stop doing that. I want to knit sweaters for me, just as I am right now. Yes, I am working on losing weight, and so things will look different, hopefully down the road. But why shouldn't I make something for me now to fit me? I knit fast enough. I can always take it out later if it really doesn't fit. But yeah, I want to have more of a handmade wardrobe. Right now I have a lot of shawls, and I just don't wear them that often. Unless it gets really cold outside. And then I tend to wear the same ones over and over. So, we're doing it where it's just a garment, a sweater. And you can do it for a baby if you want. It doesn't have to be for you. Like I said, I want to have more of a handmade wardrobe, but that is not, that includes a wardrobe for the people in my family. So I doubt Tim will get a sweater. He's already got one. Oh, excuse me. And he is 6'5", 6'4". So it is not, and he's a big dude. It is not an easy thing to knit a sweater for him. And I've knit him one or two, and I don't think he's ever worn them. Even when we lived in Maryland and it was cold, he's not a sweater guy. So, yeah. So I won't be making a sweater for him unless he specifically asks for one. But I will be making a couple sweaters for me, and hopefully for, baby sweaters just to put in our hope chest, because we are going to be doing IVF. And so I want to have, knitting on little baby things for our future baby. It gives me hope, and it's different than knitting baby things to give to other people. I guess it's just, as you're knitting, you're envisioning your child wearing those items, which is a big deal for us because obviously we haven't, had a child yet. So, anyways, Jessamine and I knitted towel, the sweater along. We are going to be using the hashtag Jess and Jess sweater. Is it sweater together or sweater along? Let me look it up. So you can enter a work in progress. Okay, hashtag Jess and Jess sweater together. Isn't that fun? Jessamine thought of it because both of our names start with Jess. The chicken is eating rocks. So knit a sweater for yourself, knit a sweater for a child. It has to be for a human. So no teddy bear sweaters. Can you guys hear the chicken trying to eat the rocks? Oh boy. Yeah, so join us. We would love for you to join us. It can be whatever type of sweater you want. Let's just get knitting more of a handmade wardrobe. So, yeah, so for 2017, I'm going to be knitting some shawls, some sweaters, obviously some socks. I will never stop knitting socks. I just want to focus more on the garments and the shawls with Jenny. So, yeah, I will have my cozy memory blanket. Is nowhere near being done. I thought it'd be really fun to get it finished by the end of 2016 and then start a new one. No. I'm not going to put a deadline on anything, unless they're gift knits, just because I like being able to knit on whatever tickles my fancy that day. Yeah, so 2017 is going to have a lot of fun knits. Check out the knit-alongs. Go to the threads in my group. Go to Jessamine, the Knitted Towel. Go to Jenny of the Lucky Jenny Knits. There's going to be lots of prizes. Hopefully some fun chatter. So Jessamine is going to host for the first quarter. We're going to break up our knit-along because it's a year-long knit-along. Jessamine's going to host the chatter for the first quarter, and I will host the first quarter finished objects. So, go over to her group, start chattering. I don't know if her thread is up. but it will be up soon if it's not now. Yeah, and let's just have fun, guys. I mean, I am so excited. So the sweater knit along is a year-long knit along. So if you start it in January and don't finish it till October, you can just enter it in October's. I mean, you can enter the chatter the whole entire time, but you can just enter your finished object in whatever quarter you finish it. So dust off those needles. Let's get knitting some garments to have more of a handmade wardrobe. And Jenny and I, our knit along is just going to be for 3 months. So it is not a year-long thing. 3 months should be plenty of time for you to get a shawl done, especially since you can do whips. You don't have to cast on January 1st for anything. So, I also wanted to show my grandma, so we live on their they have like 70 acres here. So we live on their property, but like on the other side of the property from them. She is a total knit-worthy person, and I made her these socks years ago. I don't even know what the yarn is. It's super, like, woolly. It's got a halo. No idea. It might be my projects page, but either the dryer or a bug got into it. So she asked me to fix these. So now that Christmas knitting is done, this is on my to-do list, is to mend this. Trina, Tim's sister, the dryer ate one of her socks, and so I told her to send it to me and I'll take a look at it and see if it's fixable. So I'm going to be fixing some socks coming up, and yeah. Okay, so if you are only here for the yarny goodness and the knitting, thank you for coming. If you want to stick around for a little bit of a life update, then I would love to share my life with you guys. So, if you guys are leaving, thanks for visiting. I will see you all next podcast. Okay, for those of you that are staying. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, I don't think I announced it last week. I don't know if I knew last time. But I got the job at Starbucks. So, that is why I didn't podcast last week. I'm in training, so my schedule is super random because I have to, like, piggyback on top of my trainer schedule. You know, and she's still a normal barista, and so we have to try to find a time when they don't need her up front to make drinks and she can train me. But, yeah, I'm super excited. I've had, like, four days maybe now of training. I worked yesterday. Yesterday was my longest shift, and it was, like, my first shift where I was out, you know, behind the counter making drinks. Yeah, I wasn't just sitting at the computer doing demos and, you know, all that computer training stuff. So, I love it. I'm working at Starbucks, if I didn't say that, and it, sorry, the chickens are just crazy. It is so much fun. So it is also so overwhelming. There are so many drinks to learn, and you have to know, you know, in each size, how many pumps, how many shots. Then there's a whole bunch of exceptions. You know, just about when you get the rule down, like, okay, a tall size has this many shots and this many pumps in it. Then, oh, except for this drink, it gets an extra one. Or this one, it gets one less. So then it's like, oh, you know, I was just getting a handle on it. And then there's, like, an exception. And there's a lot of exceptions. But, it is super fun to see what people order and to try the new drinks. The rooster is like 3 feet from where I am, so I'm sorry if that was really loud. But yeah, so it's super fun. Yesterday I tried the holiday flat white. Oh, it was so good, but I did burn my tongue on it. I only got like a 10-minute break. So to get the drink and then try to drink it all in 10 minutes, it just wasn't happening, and I burnt my tongue. But it was so good. It was spicy all day long. Are you done? Yeah, so if any of you guys want to try a new drink, try out the holiday flat white. I'm not sure how much longer after Christmas they'll have it, but it's really good. So, yeah, so Starbucks, super fun. Now, I'm only part-time, But at part-time, you get benefits, which is, well, I wanted to work at I'm sorry. It was this or not record at all, so I thought maybe it'd be worth recording. We'll see when I edit it. I thought it'd be fun to work at Starbucks, period. But then when I found out that their benefits for part-time employees help cover IVF medications, that was just like the icing on the cake. So, we are hopefully going to be doing IVF this spring, early summer, maybe. And so just knowing that my insurance will cover part of the medication, if not all the medication, is such a relief. So that's about a third of the cost of IVF. So that means that we only have to come up with the other 2/3. So that was just the catalyst, and I applied, and it took forever to hear back. And even the manager was like, I've never seen an application take this long. And I don't know if it was because we have moved so often. Like, before we lived in Arkansas, we moved around with the military quite a bit. And then when Tim got out of the military, we lived in our camper. And we would, live at a RV campground for, a couple months. And then we'd go over to this RV campground. But every time, you have to switch your address. So even though we were in the same camper, and it was like the same house, because the physical location moved, we had to update our address, which got really annoying trying to update my driver's license every time. A lot of people who live in RVs or campers, they have like a P.O. box address. So that way they don't have to change their license. They can just get all their mail at that one location, and then they can hop around to different campgrounds without having to change their address every time. But we weren't sure, we weren't sure of our plans, so we didn't want to do that. But anyways, so I don't know if the background check took so long because, our address changed so often, or what, but it took probably a good 2.5 weeks just for the background check. So I'd had the interview. I was getting super nervous. I felt really good about the interview. She said they had 3 spots to fill. So I thought for sure, if they're hiring 3 different spots, like I felt confident enough in my interview that maybe I'd get one of those spots. But then the background check just kept dragging out, and it went on and on. And I was like, I knew there's nothing criminal in my background. Like, there's nothing bad. There's nothing. So I knew that wasn't going to get me. But I was thinking, you start to doubt yourself. And I'm like, well, maybe on that application, you were supposed to list every single address you've ever lived at. And I didn't. I didn't see that. Maybe, maybe they're thinking I'm lying about my address. I don't know. But I just started doubting. And I'm like, what am I going to do if I don't get it? Da-da-da. And so then she, finally she called back and she's like, it came back, you're approved. So, and then we got right started on training. Yeah, so that was my big exciting news. Oh, and the manager also lives in a tiny house. They are semi-off-grid. They have a composting toilet, and they bring in their water too. So it was like, what are the odds that in Hot Springs, Arkansas, I would be working with somebody that also lives in a semi-off-grid tiny house? Not very high odds, I'll tell you that. So it was fun to talk to her about tiny house living. Okay, really quick. Homestead update. We got 2 new rabbits. Now, we have a total of 4, and I'm looking over at the rabbits. Now we have a total of 4 rabbits. One of them is an Angora. So her purpose is to produce wool, and I'm hoping to be able to save up enough of it, and then when we shear the sheep in the spring, I can kind of blend in her fiber with theirs. You guys all probably know, because you are fiber artists as well, it does not hurt the animal when you shear them. I just want to get that out there. I had a coworker in Maryland who, he was about to call PETA on me. Like, he was just horrified that, because a customer had given me some alpaca fiber. And he was just going on, and he's like, I'm so disappointed in you. You know, I can't believe you would support that. And I'm like, what do you think I've done? And he's like, the alpaca. You know, how can you kill it just for its fur? And so I had to sit down and explain to him, no, shearing the animal or brushing the Angora rabbit does not harm them at all. Okay, you need to do it. The sheep need to be shorn and the Angora needs to be brushed. Otherwise they get mats. It's not pretty. So, yeah, so I just want to get that out there for anybody watching who may not know. It does not harm the animal at all, I promise. So, back to the rabbits. We have one Angora. She is a fiber bunny. That is her purpose. Yeah. The other three, we have 2 does and a buck. They are meat rabbits. So, I'm sorry if you disagree with that, but, our whole thoughts on raising our own meat is that I want to know that animal had a good life. I don't like going to the grocery store and buying, I mean, well, we do right now, because we're not set up to provide all of our own meat, but the chickens, you know, the chicken that you buy at the grocery store, those chickens had, like, the worst lives ever. Chicken farms do not produce happy chickens. They, you know, they can have a lot of disease. They have a lot of, they're just pumped full of, like, antibiotics and hormones to make them grow faster. You know, they're raised on grain to fatten them up. So, I just don't agree with a lot of the commercial meat operations. That said, if I don't agree with it, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to do it on my own. So, Tim and I, we have a goal of producing all of our own meat eventually. Now, right now, the rabbits are the only meat animals on the farm. The chickens are solely for eggs. Granted, we will probably eat some of the roosters because we have a plethora of roosters. And if you don't get rid of them, they just fight. You don't need that many roosters. So, you know, we'll have to make a decision on what roosters to keep. The ducks, technically, we have way more males than females, but the ducks are so fun, and they don't really eat a lot of the grain, so I don't know, I'm fine with having extra male ducks around, just because they're fun to watch. The goats are dairy goats, so while we could eat them, that is not they're not meat goats. We raise registered Nubians, so the Nubians are like the Jersey cow of the goat world. They produce an excellent milk. They have the highest butterfat content. Goats don't have a lot of butterfat, but Nubians, of the goats, they produce the most. So, if you're ever going to try making butter from goat's milk, Nubian milk would be the milk to try. So, they are for milk purposes, but we want to get a couple meat does and breed them to our Nubian buck, so that way we could have some meat goats. The sheep are only for fiber. Now, the sheep, we have baby doll sheep, or South Down baby doll. They are on the petite side, and while you could eat them, they are just way too cute. So, and we bought them with the purpose of having them for wool. So, we have the male and a female. They just chill out with the goats. They're super fun to watch. They're not nearly as friendly as the goats. The goats will come running, you know, as soon as they see you, and start hollering. And the sheep, they just kind of stand back. But if the goats, eventually they'll follow the goats. So like the other day, we were building the new rabbit hutch, and so we let the goats out to just kind of free range, and eat, you know, some of the grasses around the property. And the sheep, they will follow wherever the goats go around the farm. So if you ever need to get them back in the pen, just get the goats to follow you, and the sheep will come like trotting along behind the goats. So the sheep are super fun. But they are for wool, the goats are for milk, the chickens are for eggs, and most of the rabbits are for meat. So that is the farm right now. That said, we are also getting hogs in January. So the piglets were just born last week. So we need to give them, they're born at a different farm. We need to give them about 6 weeks to be weaned from the mom. maybe a little bit longer. You don't want to take all of the piglets away from the mom all at once. So we are taking, there was 5 born, I think. So another lady is taking 3 and we're taking 2. So if the other lady wants to pick up hers first, they can take those 3 piglets away from the mom and leave the other 2 with the mom. So that way the mom gets acclimated to have less and less milk. And it's not such a harsh, just taking away all of her babies all at once. So it might be a little bit longer than 6 weeks, which is totally fine with me. We're not really in a hurry to get the pigs because we still have to set up the pen for them. We're going to do a pallet house. Tim can get a lot of free pallets at work. So most of the animals have pallet housing, except for the rabbits. Yeah, but that is the farm update. I'm looking around to try to see if there's anything new. The bees they've slowed down for the winter because we've had some really cold days. I kind of freaked out the other day because I thought they were dead, but as soon as we started banging around on the not banging, but I took the top off to see if they were alive, and they all came out. So the bees are fine. We're feeding them in the fall, early winter. You have to feed them like a sugar syrup, so that way they can produce enough honey to keep themselves fed over the winter. So we're feeding them right now. But yeah, I think that's everybody. So it's been a long episode, lots of knitting, a lot more life update than I had planned, but yeah, I'm not sure if I will be able to podcast next week or if it'll be the following week, which I think is the week of Christmas. Oh, maybe next week is. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to go back to weekly, but like I said, with the job, tomorrow I should be certified in all my training, which means then I can be on the normal shift schedule. So I don't know after tomorrow what my schedule will be like, but hopefully I will be able to find time to podcast, even if it means I have to go outside. I know the lighting's not that great out here, but it's way better than inside the tiny house. So that is all of my ramblings. Thank you guys so much for watching, for hanging out with me, for caring about what I'm working on. I really appreciate it. If I don't see you guys before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas. But I will try to be back next week. So, happy knitting. I hope you guys have finished all of your holiday knitting, and you can kind of just, sit back, relax, and knit on something for you. So, happy knitting, and I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.